All right, so, we've got this stack of reports and articles here, and
Yeah.
and the main takeaway I'm getting is like a total financial revolution is about to happen.
Hmm.
I mean, we're talking predictions for 2025.
Okay.
Bitcoin going to like $200,000.
Wow.
There's even this thing I'm seeing called Zodiac,
Huh?
and this whole ISO 2022 thing just keeps popping up everywhere.
Right.
So where do we even begin with all of this?
Well, it seems like 2025 is the year that everyone's betting on in finance. Like everything's going to change.
Okay, so 2025 is the year, but what exactly is going to change?
So imagine
Yeah.
imagine your digital wallet just seamlessly connects with any currency anywhere in the world.
Hmm.
That's the whole potential of CBDCs?
CBDCs?
Central bank digital currencies, yeah.
Yeah.
And, a ton of countries are aiming to launch these by 2025.
Oh, wow.
Russia, Mexico, Brazil,
Really?
even the
So
Eurozone.
this isn't just like a fringe idea anymore?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Even JP Morgan, the huge, financial powerhouse.
Yeah.
They're jumping on board the digital asset train, predicting big things for 2025.
So why is everyone rushing all of a sudden? Like, what's making 2025 the year for digital currencies?
Well, think about this. The world is getting a little tense right now,
Yeah.
especially what's going on with Russia
Mm-hmm.
and the BRICS nations.
Right.
They want to find ways to move away from the US dollar.
Hmm.
Like that whole system that's dominated by the dollar.
Okay.
And CBCs offer a way to do just that.
So this is like a whole financial power shift happening right now.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
These global tensions are creating the perfect storm for, a new financial order to come out of it.
So then what about the U.S.? I mean, they're not just going to sit back and watch this happen, are they?
Well, the sources suggest that the U.S. might play this really clever hand.
Ah,
They'll
yeah.
probably speed up their own digital dollar plans,
Mhm.
maybe even go the stablecoin route.
Yeah.
Remember, the U.S. House might have banned the term CBDC,
Right.
but they never said no to stablecoins.
Oh, that's sneaky. So we've got all these CBDCs popping up,
Right.
maybe even a digital dollar coming soon.
Yeah.
But how are all these going to work together?
Okay.
Seems like a recipe for disaster.
That's where ISO 2022 comes in.
Okay.
Think of it as like a universal translator for money.
Hmm.
Right now, all these financial systems speak different languages.
Yeah.
ISO 2022 is like creating one language they can all understand.
Oh.
So global transactions can happen smoothly and efficiently.
So ISO 2022 is the key to making all this digital currency stuff actually work.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
That is huge.
And remember JP Morgan?
The digital asset people.
Yeah, the ones who are super bullish on digital assets. Well, they're also putting a ton of money into ISO 2022.
Wait, are you saying there's like a direct link between their interest in digital assets and this ISO 2022 standard?
It's definitely something to think about.
Okay.
Now let's bring Ripple into the picture.
Okay.
They're already partnering with big players in finance.
Like who?
Standard Chartered, HSBC, BNY Mellon, and they're really focusing on tokenized assets. It all seems to be lining up with this big shift to a new financial system.
So is this finally XRP's moment in the spotlight?
The sources suggest XRP could be the bridge that connects all these currencies and systems.
Oh, wow.
Think of it like the ultimate translator in this new world of finance.
Okay, so we've got CBDCs on the horizon,
Yeah.
this universal translator for money with ISO 2022,
Right.
and Ripple potentially right in the middle of it all.
Exactly.
This is getting interesting, but hold on, what about Bitcoin?
Yeah.
One source mentioned it hitting $200,000 by the end of 2025.
Right. That was Bernstein, a global asset management firm.
Okay.
They made that bold prediction.
Wow.
They believe that no matter who wins the U.S. election, Bitcoin is going to the moon.
That's a pretty big claim. What makes them so confident?
Well, they're seeing more and more big players, like institutions adopting Bitcoin. Plus, with all the economic uncertainty in the world, Bitcoin's reputation as a safe haven is only getting stronger.
So even with all this talk about CBDCs and XRP, Bitcoin's not going anywhere.
Absolutely not. It's still a major force in the world of finance.
Okay.
While XRP might be the bridge between different systems, Bitcoin's continued growth is like adding fuel to the fire, pushing us even faster toward a decentralized financial future.
This is all incredibly exciting, but there's one thing I'm wondering about.
What's that?
The sources keep mentioning the need for clearer rules and regulations in the U.S. for all this to really take off.
You're right. That's a critical point.
Yeah.
Right now, the lack of clear guidelines from regulators is making financial institutions hesitant to fully embrace digital assets.
So 2025 might be the year of potential. But a lot hinges on what happens with regulations in the meantime.
Exactly. The future of digital assets in the U.S. really depends on whether regulators decide to hit the gas or slam on the brakes.
Okay, so we've covered a lot here.
Yeah.
CBDCs, ISO 2022, the potential of XRP, Bitcoin staying power,
Mm.
and the importance of regulations.
Right.
It's a lot to digest.
It really is. But it all points to a future where finance looks radically different from what we're used to.
Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, there's one more thing I'm curious about.
Okay.
What's the deal with Standard Chartered's crypto custody business, Zodiac?
Ah, Zodiac.
Yeah.
They're reportedly looking for a $50 million investment.
Hmm.
And remember, Standard Chartered is a key Ripple partner.
Right. So could this be a sign that they're getting ready for like a huge surge in demand for crypto custody services? Maybe they're anticipating this big shift in 2025.
It's definitely a strong possibility.
Yeah.
The timing of their fundraising lines up perfectly with all the trends we've been talking about.
This is also fascinating.
I'm hooked.
What else have you got?
Well, in the next part of our deep dive, we'll look at some real-world examples of how these changes are already playing out.
Can't wait. This is getting good.
Yeah. You mentioned wanting to see these changes, like, in action, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm all about seeing the theory put to the test.
Okay, well, let's head over to India for a minute.
Okay.
They have this thing called the Unified Payments Interface.
UPI.
UPI, yeah. It's basically a mobile payment system that's totally changed how people do transactions in India.
Yeah, I've heard of UPI. It's supposed to be incredibly efficient.
Oh, yeah, super efficient.
Like people paying for street food with their phones efficient.
Exactly. And get this, Yes Bank, a Ripple partner. They're deeply embedded in the UPI system.
Oh.
They're an associate of the State Bank of India, which is a major player in UPI, and also has a big stake in Yes Bank.
Wait, so Ripple is like indirectly connected to one of the most successful mobile payment systems in the world.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is, and it shows how these partnerships are starting to create this network effect, you know?
Yeah.
Connecting different parts of the financial world in ways we've never seen before.
So that's India.
Yeah.
What about other parts of the world? Are there any other signs of this happening elsewhere?
Oh, absolutely. Let's look at SWIFT. Yeah, the big kahuna of global interbank messaging.
Right.
They're currently doing a major upgrade to that ISO 2022 standard we talked about. Plus, they're planning live trials of digital asset transactions in, you guessed it, 2025.
So even SWIFT, the backbone of traditional finance, is embracing digital assets.
Yeah, it's a pretty big endorsement.
That is huge.
And again, the timing aligns perfectly with the rise of CBDCs and the adoption of ISO 2022. It's like all the pieces are falling into place.
This is all starting to make sense, but I'm still curious about XRP being used as a bridge currency.
Okay.
Are there any like concrete examples of that happening, or is it still mostly theoretical?
Well, there's no official confirmation yet, but there are some really interesting clues in the sources.
Okay.
Ripple's own documentation for RippleNet, you know, their global payments network.
Yeah.
They specifically mention that XRP can be used as a bridge currency for cross-border payments.
Wait, so Ripple is openly saying that XRP can be used as a bridge currency within their own network.
Yep, and it gets even more interesting. Remember that quote about Ripple potentially using XRP as a bridge between different currencies? The source for that was Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple's CEO.
Wow. So even Ripple's CEO is hinting at the possibility of XRP playing this crucial role in connecting different financial systems.
Exactly. And when you consider that many of Ripple's partners, like Standard Chartered, are also involved in developing CBDCs,
Right.
it paints a pretty compelling picture.
It's like they're laying the groundwork for a future where XRP just makes transactions between all these different CBDCs super smooth.
Right.
This is getting me really excited about the possibilities. But let's not forget about the challenges we talked about, regulation.
Yeah.
But what about security? With all these digital currencies and interconnected systems, wouldn't that make the financial system more vulnerable to cyber attacks?
That's a really good question. Security is absolutely crucial in any financial system,
Yeah.
especially one that's relying more and more on technology.
So what are the experts saying about this? Are there any safeguards in place?
Well, the sources don't dive deep into cybersecurity specifically,
Right.
but they do highlight the role of blockchain technology in enhancing security and transparency.
Right. Blockchain is supposed to be like incredibly secure, right?
Yeah, almost impossible to hack.
Okay.
Its decentralized nature and those cryptographic security features make it really hard to compromise.
Okay. That's reassuring, but I'm still curious, like, what concrete steps are being taken to make sure these new digital financial systems are secure? Are there any specific examples?
We'll take Standard Chartered's Zodiac Custody platform, for example. It's designed specifically to provide institutional-grade security for digital assets.
So it sounds like there are companies actively working on solutions to address these security concerns. That's good to hear.
Absolutely. And as the industry grows and matures, we can expect to see even more robust security measures put in place.
Yeah, that makes sense. It would be a shame if all this incredible innovation was undermined by security vulnerabilities. We don't want to repeat that movie Hackers in real life.
Definitely not. And it's something that regulators, financial institutions, and technology providers will need to work together on to ensure a secure and stable digital financial future.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground again.
We have.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle I want to discuss before we wrap up this part.
Okay.
This idea of a multi-chain world.
Okay.
One of the sources mentioned that Axelar, a blockchain interoperability protocol, is adding support for XRP Ledger.
Yes, and they're also adding support for other major blockchains like Solana, Stellar, and even Bitcoin.
So this Axelar platform is essentially connecting all these different blockchains together.
Yeah.
Kind of like building bridges between different digital worlds.
Precisely. They're creating a network of networks, allowing for seamless interactions between different blockchain ecosystems.
And XRP Ledger is going to be part of that.
That's right. And it really reinforces the idea that XRP could play a vital role in bridging different parts of this emerging digital financial system.
This is all incredibly exciting. It feels like we're witnessing the birth of a truly global, interconnected financial network right before our eyes.
It's a truly transformative time, and it's fascinating to observe how these different pieces are starting to fit together.
Okay, before we move on to the final part, there was one thing that really stuck with me.
What's that?
Remember that video from VetXO about auto-bridging?
Yes, the one that explains how XRP could be inserted into Forex trading pairs.
Yeah.
It essentially becoming a bridge between traditional fiat currencies.
Exactly. It's such a simple yet powerful concept.
It is.
And it aligns perfectly with what we've been discussing about XRP's potential as a bridge currency.
It does, and it highlights the potential for XRP to play a role not just in bridging different cryptocurrencies, but also in connecting the traditional financial system with the world of digital assets.
Okay, this is starting to feel like a really big deal, like world-changing big.
It is, and in our final part, we'll explore some of the broader implications of these changes and what they might mean for the future of finance and for individuals like you.
All right, so we've explored like the what and the how of this whole financial revolution thing.
Right.
But now let's talk about the why.
Okay.
What does it all mean? Like, what are the bigger implications of all these changes?
Yeah, right.
Is this all good news, or is there like a dark side we need to be aware of?
That's where things get really interesting. The sources paint this picture of a world where finance is more accessible, more efficient, and way more transparent. Like, imagine sending money across borders instantly with almost zero fees.
Wow.
Or think about people in developing countries who've never even had a bank account.
Right.
Suddenly, they're empowered to participate in the global economy.
That sounds amazing.
It does.
But let's be real here.
Yeah.
There are always winners and losers in any big shift like this.
Right.
So who stands to benefit the most from this new financial order, and who might get left behind?
Well, the sources seem to suggest that everyday people like you and me could be the biggest winners.
Really?
Yeah, a more open and accessible financial system could give individuals more control over their money and reduce their reliance on those big traditional banks.
That's a powerful thought.
Yeah.
But I'm also a little cautious.
Okay.
What about privacy?
Yeah.
If everything becomes digital and connected, wouldn't it be easier for governments and corporations to track our every move?
That's a valid concern for sure.
Yeah.
And it's something we need to be very aware of as this new financial landscape evolves. The sources don't really dive deep into the privacy implications, but it's definitely a crucial question that needs to be addressed.
Right.
We need to find the right balance between all this cool innovation and protecting individual privacy.
Okay, so potential benefits for individuals, but also concerns about privacy.
Right.
Got it. But what about the bigger picture, like global power dynamics?
Yeah.
Will this new system just shift power from one group of elites to another?
Or could it actually lead to a more even distribution of wealth and influence?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sources highlight how these geopolitical tensions, especially with Russia and the BRICS nations, are a major force behind this push for CBDCs and a new financial order.
Okay.
Some experts think this could create a more multipolar world where power is distributed more evenly, across different countries and currencies.
Okay.
But others worry that it could just create new centers of power, basically replacing one set of elites with another.
So there's no easy answer here. No clear-cut good versus bad.
Right.
There are a lot of nuances and potential consequences to think about.
Absolutely.
It feels like we're standing at a major crossroads.
Yeah.
And the choices we make now will have a huge impact on the future.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations and really think critically about what's happening. The future of finance isn't set in stone.
Yeah. It's something that we as individuals and as a global society have the power to shape.
This has been a wild ride.
It has.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah.
But also a bit overwhelming to realize just how big this is.
I understand change can be unsettling, but it also brings incredible opportunities. We have a chance to rethink our financial systems and create a future that's more inclusive, efficient, and fair for everyone.
That's an inspiring thought.
It is.
So instead of just letting these changes happen to us, we can be a part of shaping them.
Exactly.
We can be architects of the future, not just bystanders.
That's exactly right. And that brings us back to the main question of this deep dive.
Okay.
What role will you play in this financial revolution? Will you just watch from the sidelines, or will you be an active participant?
That's a powerful question for our listeners to think about.
It is.
Thanks for walking us through this complex and fascinating topic.
You're welcome.
I, for one, am feeling cautiously optimistic, but definitely energized to see what happens next.
Me too. And remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us.
Right.
It's something we create together.
That's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
To our listeners, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep engaging with these crucial conversations. The future of finance is literally in your hands.